Imagine a story, not too long, about a brave woman named Sarah. This isn't just any story. It's about how doing the right thing, even when it's hard, can change everything. Sarah's life took a wild turn, like a roller coaster, all because of one amazing act of courage. Our tale begins with Sarah, a kind-hearted woman who worked as a waitress. She wasn't rich or famous, but she had a heart of gold. She worked hard every day to take care of her family. She always had a smile for everyone, even when things were tough. Sarah's life was simple, but she was happy. She loved her family, her friends, and her job, even though it wasn't always easy. Little did she know, her life was about to change in a big way. It all started with a loud bang and a moment of quick thinking. This story isn't just about one day in Sarah's life. It's about how one act of bravery can have ripple effects, touching many lives. It's about how doing what's right, even when it seems impossible, can lead to amazing things. Get ready to hear about a woman who lost her job but gained something far more valuable: the respect and admiration of an entire nation, and even an invitation to the White House. Her journey is a reminder that even ordinary people can do extraordinary things. Now, let's paint a picture of where Sarah worked. The diner, Ma's Kitchen, wasn't just a place to grab a burger. It was the heart of the neighborhood. It sat on a busy corner, where the sounds of city life mixed with the smell of frying bacon and fresh coffee. Some people would say the neighborhood was a little rough around the edges. There were colorful murals on some buildings, but also some with broken windows. Kids played hopscotch on the sidewalks during the day, their laughter echoing between the buildings. But as evening came, things could get a little different. Sometimes, you'd hear loud music or see people arguing on the street corner. It was a place where everyone knew each other, but not always in a good way. Sarah knew the neighborhood well. She knew the friendly faces who came to Ma's Kitchen every day for their morning coffee and the families who gathered for Sunday dinners. She also knew about the problems, the worries people carried, the struggles they faced. It was a place of both joy and sadness, a place where people looked out for each other, but also a place where bad things could happen. Ma's Kitchen was right in the middle of it all, a safe haven in a sometimes scary world. Sarah felt a responsibility to the neighborhood, and the neighborhood felt like a family to her. This setting will soon play a major part in the life-changing event that is about to unfold for Sarah. The day started like any other at Ma's Kitchen. The sun was shining, and the smell of pancakes filled the air. Sarah was busy taking orders, refilling coffee cups, and chatting with her regular customers. Then, suddenly, everything changed. A loud bang echoed through the street. People screamed. A fight had broken out down the block, and shots were fired. Panic erupted inside the diner. Customers ducked under tables, their faces filled with fear. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. Amidst the chaos, Sarah saw Lily, a bright-eyed 9-year-old girl, standing frozen near the window. Lily often came to Ma's Kitchen with her grandmother for a treat after school. Now she was staring wide-eyed at the commotion outside, unaware of the danger. Another shot rang out, and Sarah saw something that made her blood run cold. A stray bullet was heading straight for Lily. Time seemed to slow down. Sarah knew she had to act fast. There was no time to think, only to react. The air crackled with tension as everyone waited, not knowing what would happen next. Sarah knew in that moment that she had to do something, anything, to protect Lily. The world seemed to shrink down to just Sarah and Lily, and the path of that deadly bullet. Without a second thought, Sarah sprang into action. She dashed toward Lily, her heart pounding in her ears. She knew she only had a split second to react. With a burst of speed she didn't know she possessed, Sarah reached Lily just as the bullet whizzed past. In a move that defied all sense of self-preservation, Sarah pushed Lily with all her might, knocking the little girl to the floor. Lily landed with a thump, startled but unharmed. But Sarah wasn't so lucky. The bullet, meant for Lily, grazed Sarah's side. A sharp, searing pain shot through her body. She gasped, clutching her side as she stumbled backward. For a moment, everything went blurry. But even through the pain, Sarah's first thought was for Lily. "Are you okay?" she managed to ask, Her voice strained. Lily, wide-eyed and trembling, nodded. "Yes," she whispered. "Thank you." Sarah's vision cleared, and she saw that Lily was indeed safe. Relief washed over her, even as the pain intensified. She had saved Lily's life. The other customers, who had been huddled under tables, started to emerge, their faces a mixture of shock and gratitude. They rushed to Sarah's side, offering help and comfort. The immediate danger was over, but the aftermath was just beginning. Sarah, though injured, was a hero. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder as they approached Ma's kitchen. Soon, flashing lights filled the street as police cars and an ambulance arrived. Paramedics rushed inside, quickly assessing Sarah's injury. They carefully placed her on a stretcher and carried her out to the ambulance. Lily, still shaken but safe in her grandmother's arms, watched as Sarah was taken away. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "She saved me." Her grandmother hugged her tightly, nodding in agreement. "Yes, she did, sweetheart. She's a very brave woman." At the hospital, doctors tended to Sarah's wound. It wasn't life-threatening, but it was painful, and she would need time to recover. News reporters swarmed outside, eager to interview the hero waitress who had risked her life to save a child. Back at Ma's kitchen, the police were interviewing witnesses and gathering evidence. The neighborhood buzzed with activity, the story of Sarah's bravery spreading like wildfire. Everyone was talking about what she had done, praising her courage and selflessness. Ma's kitchen, usually a place of quiet comfort, had become the center of a dramatic event, all thanks to Sarah's quick thinking and heroic actions. The community held its breath, waiting for news of her recovery and celebrating her bravery. The next morning, Sarah woke up in her hospital bed, feeling sore but grateful to be alive. She was still processing everything that had happened. A nurse came in to check on her, smiling warmly. "You're a hero, Sarah," she said. "Everyone's talking about what you did." Sarah managed a weak smile. She was happy she had saved Lily, but she couldn't shake a feeling of unease. Later that day, a stern-faced man in a suit visited her. He introduced himself as Mr. Thompson, the manager of Ma's kitchen. Mr. Thompson cleared his throat. "Sarah," he began, "we appreciate what you did. It was very brave. However," he paused, looking uncomfortable. "Company policy strictly prohibits employees from leaving their posts during work hours. What you did, while admirable, was a direct violation of that policy." Sarah's heart sank. She knew what was coming. "I'm afraid," Mr. Thompson continued, "that we have to let you go. Your employment with Ma's Kitchen is terminated, effective immediately." Sarah was stunned. She had risked her life to save a child, and now she was being fired for it? It didn't seem fair. Tears welled up in her eyes. But I saved a little girl's life," she stammered. Mr. Thompson sighed. "I understand, Sarah, but rules are rules. We wish you the best of luck." And with that, he turned and left, leaving Sarah alone with her shock and despair. The news of her firing hit Sarah hard. Lying in her hospital bed, she felt a wave of despair wash over her. She had bills to pay, a family to support, and now she had no job. The medical bills from her hospital stay were already piling up, adding to her worries. How would she manage? Tears streamed down her face as she thought about her family. She was the main provider, and without her income, they would struggle to make ends meet. The thought of not being able to provide for them was unbearable. She tossed and turned in her bed, unable to sleep. The pain in her side was nothing compared to the ache in her heart. She had done the right thing, saved a little girl's life, but it had come at a great cost. Doubt crept into her mind. Had she made the right decision? Should she have just stayed at her post and followed the rules? But then she remembered Lily's face, the fear in her eyes, and she knew she would do it again in a heartbeat. Despite her bravery, Sarah felt utterly alone and overwhelmed. The future seemed uncertain and bleak. She closed her eyes, praying for a miracle, for some way to overcome this impossible situation. She needed help, and she needed it fast. The weight of her responsibilities felt heavier than ever before. While Sarah was grappling with her worries in the hospital, the local news picked up her story. A reporter, named Maria, heard about Sarah's heroic act and her subsequent firing. Maria felt a surge of anger and injustice. She knew the story needed to be told. Maria visited Sarah in the hospital, listening intently as Sarah recounted the events of that fateful day. She carefully documented every detail, from the chaos of the shooting to the moment Sarah made the split-second decision to save Lily. The next day, Maria's story appeared on the front page of the local newspaper, with a large photo of Sarah in her hospital bed. The headline screamed, "Hero waitress fired after saving girl's life." The article detailed Sarah's bravery, her selfless act, and the heartless decision by Ma's Kitchen to fire her. It also highlighted Sarah's financial struggles and her desperate need for a job. The story painted a picture of a hard-working, kind-hearted woman who had been unfairly punished for doing the right thing. The article ended with a call to action, urging readers to support Sarah and her family. It included information on how to donate to a fund that had been set up to help her with her medical bills and living expenses. Maria hoped that her story would bring attention to Sarah's plight and inspire people to help. She had a feeling that this was just the beginning. Maria's article had an immediate impact. People were outraged by Ma's Kitchen's decision to fire Sarah. The community rallied around her, expressing their support and admiration. Phone lines at Ma's Kitchen were flooded with angry calls, and social media exploded with criticism of the company's policy. Within hours, the fundraising campaign for Sarah had raised thousands of dollars. Donations poured in from all over the city, and even from other parts of the country. People were touched by Sarah's story and wanted to help in any way they could. Local businesses offered Sarah free meals, gift certificates, and other forms of support. People visited her in the hospital, bringing flowers, cards, and words of encouragement. Lily and her grandmother also came to see Sarah, showering her with hugs and gratitude. The outpouring of support was overwhelming. Sarah was deeply moved by the kindness and generosity of strangers. She realized that even though she had lost her job, she had gained something far more valuable: the love and support of her community. Ma's Kitchen, however, faced a public relations nightmare, and its reputation was severely damaged. The community had spoken, and they were firmly on Sarah's side. Sarah's story didn't just stay local. It spread like wildfire across the internet, reaching news outlets and social media platforms around the world. People everywhere were touched by her bravery and outraged by the injustice she had faced. The story eventually reached the White House. The president, known for his compassion and his admiration for everyday heroes, was deeply moved by Sarah's selfless act. He learned about her financial struggles and her unwavering commitment to her family. He felt compelled to do something to help. He believed that Sarah's bravery deserved to be recognized and rewarded. After discussing it with his advisors, he decided to extend a special invitation to Sarah. One afternoon, while Sarah was still recovering in the hospital, she received an unexpected phone call. It was from a White House aide, informing her that the president himself had requested her presence at the White House. Sarah was speechless. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. "The president wants to meet me?" she stammered, her voice filled with disbelief. The aide confirmed the invitation, explaining that the president wanted to personally thank her for her heroism and offer his support. Sarah's life was about to change once again, in a way she never could have imagined. The news of the White House invitation spread quickly, adding to the already intense media attention surrounding Sarah. She was overwhelmed, but also incredibly excited. Felt like a dream come true. Preparing for the trip to Washington, D.C. was a whirlwind. Clothes were donated, hair appointments were made, and travel arrangements were taken care of. The community rallied together to ensure that Sarah would be able to represent them with pride. Sarah spent hours thinking about what she would say to the president. She wanted to express her gratitude for the invitation, but she also wanted to use the opportunity to speak about the importance of community safety and the need to support those who are struggling. The day of the trip finally arrived. Sarah, accompanied by Lily and her grandmother, boarded a plane to Washington, D.C. As the plane took off, Sarah looked out the window, a mix of nerves and excitement swirling within her. She thought about her journey, from the ordinary life of a waitress to the extraordinary circumstances that had led her to this moment. She knew that her life would never be the same. She was ready to embrace the future, whatever it may hold, and to use her newfound platform to make a positive impact on the world. The White House awaited, and Sarah was ready to meet the president. Arriving in Washington, D.C., Sarah, Lily, and her grandmother were greeted by a motorcade and whisked away to a hotel near the White House. Sarah felt like she was living in a movie. The next day, they were escorted to the White House. Walking through the hallowed halls of the White House was an experience Sarah would never forget. She was awestruck by the history and the grandeur of the building. She saw portraits of past presidents, walked through rooms where important decisions had been made, and felt the weight of the nation's history all around her. Finally, she was led into the Oval Office. There, standing behind his desk, was the president. He greeted Sarah warmly, shaking her hand and thanking her for her bravery. "Sarah," he said, his voice sincere, "you are a true hero. What you did was an act of extraordinary courage, and you are an inspiration to us all." He then turned to Lily, who was standing shyly beside Sarah. "And you," he said, smiling, "are a very lucky young lady. Sarah is a very special person." The president spent time talking to Sarah, listening to her story, and learning about her challenges. He was genuinely interested in her well-being and wanted to find ways to help. Sarah felt honored and grateful for the president's kindness and support. It was a moment she would cherish forever. She truly felt recognized for her heroism. The president, true to his word, took immediate action to support Sarah. He contacted several businesses in her hometown, highlighting her skills and experience as a waitress. Within days, Sarah had multiple job offers, each one better than the last. She chose a position at a local cafe, known for its community involvement and its commitment to fair labor practices. The president also ensured that Lily received the best possible care. He arranged for her to have access to top-notch medical professionals and provided her family with resources to help them cope with the trauma of the shooting. He also made sure that Lily received counseling and support to help her heal emotionally. Beyond the practical assistance, the president used his platform to raise awareness about the importance of community safety and the need to support everyday heroes. He spoke about Sarah's bravery in his speeches and encouraged others to follow her example. Sarah's story became a symbol of hope and resilience, inspiring people across the country to do good and to stand up for what is right. The president's support not only changed Sarah's life but also had a ripple effect, positively impacting her community and the nation as a whole. He helped her find her footing again. Sarah's life was forever changed. She thrived in her new job at the local cafe, where she was treated with respect and appreciation. She became a vocal advocate for community safety, working with local organizations to promote violence prevention programs and support victims of crime. She used her platform to speak out against unfair labor practices and to advocate for policies that protect workers' rights. She became a role model for others in her community, demonstrating that even ordinary people can make a difference. Ma's Kitchen, on the other hand, never fully recovered from the public backlash. The restaurant eventually closed its doors, a stark reminder of the importance of treating employees with fairness and respect. Sarah remained a hero in her town, not just for her bravery in saving Lily's life, but also for her commitment to making her community a better place. She proved that one act of kindness and courage can have a lasting impact, inspiring others to do good and to stand up for what is right. Her newfound position enabled her to have a wider impact. The future appeared bright and full of promise. The bond between Sarah and Lily grew stronger with each passing day. Lily often visited Sarah at the cafe, where they would share stories and laughter. Sarah became like a second mother to Lily, offering her guidance and support. They both understood that their lives were intertwined in a special way. They had shared a traumatic experience, but they had also found strength and hope in each other. They became a symbol of resilience for their community, proving that even in the face of adversity, love and friendship can prevail. Sarah made it a point to attend Lily's school events and cheer her on. She was a constant presence in Lily's life, providing her with a sense of stability and security. Lily, in turn, looked up to Sarah as a hero and a role model. Together, they worked to promote peace and understanding in their community. They organized events to bring people together, regardless of their backgrounds or beliefs. They taught others the importance of empathy and compassion. Their friendship was a beacon of light, shining brightly in a world that often seemed dark and uncertain. They showed everyone what true friendship really means. The community was better because of them. Years passed, and Sarah continued to work at the cafe, always with a smile on her face and a kind word for everyone. Lily grew into a bright, confident young woman, excelling in her studies and dreaming of a future where she could make a difference in the world, just like Sarah. They often reminisced about that fateful day at Ma's kitchen, marveling at how one moment of bravery could change so many lives. They knew that their story was a testament to the power of human connection and the importance of standing up for what is right. Sarah never forgot the support she received from her community and from the president. She remained grateful for the opportunities that had been given to her and committed to paying it forward, helping others in need whenever she could. And so, the story of the waitress who lost her job but gained so much more became a legend in their town, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, hope can always be found. Sarah's legacy lived on, inspiring generations to come to be brave, to be kind, and to never give up on the power of the human spirit. She showed everyone the importance of helping others. Her story proved that one act of kindness can change the world.